on something else entirely. He was trying to figure out how to get out of there. Dylan quietly scoped out the compound, looking for some gap in security. And he discovered that the compound was enormous. It ran the length of a few city blocks.
But it's very hard to escape because the company security is very strong in the compound, and that's why.
Remember, there were armed guards everywhere. So Dylan needed to come up with a plan to get out of there that his bosses wouldn't notice. It turns out the crime bosses running the compound had set up a kind of incentive program, so scammers would do their best work.
When they hit the quotas, we were divided by around 10%, and then that one is your salary.
So you kind of worked on what they call commission.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much the salary or commissions that caught Dylan's eye. He was focused on one specific perk in particular. High-performing scammers were given a phone that they didn't have to share with anyone else. And Dylan thought, if I could earn one of those phones, maybe I'd be able to call for help.
When I get them provide me the phone, the working phone, I try to find a way how to contact anyone can help.
So Dylan became a model scammer. And then finally, a few weeks in, he got that personal phone.
Actually, I just stay in the compound around 1 month when I get the company phone.
Now all he had to do was pick his moment. And he was patient, because it was clear to him if he could get beaten for missing a quota, trying to make a break for it could get him something much, much worse. He'd probably end up in the compound's torture room, beaten, handcuffed, maybe killed. So every day, Dylan did his work, until at last, one day, he was running a scam just making his boss's money, and he noticed his manager wasn't paying attention. So he picked up his phone, looked like he was dutifully reading from the script in front of him, trying to look as normal as possible as he dialed, hoping his bosses assumed that he was just doing his job, while in reality, he wasn't calling a victim. He was calling for help, and with each call, furtively begging them to come save him.
I contact Philippines police, and then I try to contact our Malaysia embassy, and then I try to contact my family.
So you were basically saying, help me, I'm being held prisoner.
Yeah, that's right.
And then all he could do was wait. The waiting, of course, was the hardest part.
And then after that, maybe first few days don't have any respondings.
No responses to his calls for help. What Dylan didn't know until much later is that his desperate calls had been received. His case landed on the desk of this guy.
Well, I'm Winston John Romero Casio. I work for the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission here in the Philippines.
Before he joined the Crime Commission, Winston Cascio was an academic. He was an expert in the criminal mind.
I was doing a lot of research with regards to deviance and criminal sociology and criminal philosophy. And it was kind of easy for me to try to understand the motivation behind it.
He studied gang culture and criminal psychology and applied that to the transnational criminal organizations that were springing up all over the Philippines. Criminal gangs were doing everything from human trafficking to drug smuggling. So Filipino jails were full of members of large criminal syndicates, all of which gave Winston lots of opportunities to talk to them and to understand not just what they did, but why they did it too. And then he got a call from the Crime Commission, asking if he could put all these years of study into practice. President Bongbong Marcos wanted to clean up transnational crime in the Philippines, and Winston couldn't wait to get started.
The president gave us a marching order to go after online scams. That gave me a boost. When the president said he's going to ban this, he gave me the much-needed boost. This is a presidential directive. This is the president telling us to go all out against the scammers, wherever they may be.
And it turns out where scammers were was all over Southeast Asia, including a town about an hour outside of Manila called Banban. The Philippines has become a haven for online scamming for some of the same reasons that legitimate businesses set up their call centers and customer service operations there. Filipinos tend to be highly educated. They have good language skills and a good work ethic, all of which could, of course, be useful to scamming operations as well. So by 2022, scam compounds were becoming a bit of a booming industry with a whole infrastructure in place. The scam farm bosses would create job postings online or recruit people in person, and the jobs looked totally legit.
People might be invited to attend job introduction meetings where criminals or fake recruitment agencies or brokers will be introducing fake jobs.
That's Charlene Chen. She's the deputy director at Humanity Research Consultancy, a firm that studies human trafficking. And she says it's easy to be fooled. The criminal groups promise good money, a chance to live in a bustling Asian city. The problem is, when the job seeker comes for the interview or to tour the office, they're not allowed to leave. That's a version of what happened to Dylan. Why pay benefits and salaries when you can just kidnap people and force them to work?
Quite a lot of them realize that it's more cost effective to just kidnap a group of people, force them to stay in the office, conducts online scam for them.
The United Nations now estimates that hundreds of thousands of people like Dylan may be held captive in scam compounds all around the world.
I have to be honest. The fact that these scam operations are still increasing, expanding in a crazy speed, it's quite terrifying.
And now Winston and the commission were told to put a stop to it. All he needed was a tip, and he got that in part from Dylan and his secret phone calls.
The Malaysian embassy informed us of a Malaysian national. They were being held against their will and forced to work as scammers.
That Malaysian was Dylan. And as fate would have it, his call was the second time in the space of a week that Winston had heard that there was a scam farm hidden in the hills of Bon Bon. Just a few days before Dylan's call, a man from Vietnam had managed to do the impossible. He'd escaped from the Bon Bon compound. He evaded his captors and even ran to local police. They, in turn, put him in touch with Winston. The Vietnamese escapee told Winston everything. And as he spoke, what became clear to Winston was that if they were going to raid this operation, they needed a lot more than a couple of police vans and a few dozen cops.
There were 36 buildings, so if you have less than 50 people scouring through, going through the entire compound, we didn't have enough people.
So Winston began calling around for reinforcements, and he got them in full force. The military agreed to help too.
That was the first major operation we had against an actual hub, a huge compound. Although we've had 3 different operations in the past, these were insignificant in terms of size compared to that in Bon Bon. We had almost 8,000 operatives.
The staging area the night of the raid was at a military camp not far from the Bon Bon scam compound. It had become a kind of military operation, and they talked about how they would fan out and cover the exits and where they were likely to encounter resistance. Winston said when the meeting finally broke up at about 10:30 that
Welcome back to our reconvened City Council meeting. We have a number of closed sessions that we need to vote on. The first is a communication from my office requesting that the council convene in a closed meeting to discuss vacancies on certain authorities, boards, commissions, and committees appointed by the council pursuant to Section 2.2-3711A1 Code of Virginia. And I'll note that the boards and commissions that we'll be considering today are included in the agenda. I'll entertain a motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Council Members Hagan and Sanchez-Jones. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Sanchez-Jones?
Here.
Vice Mayor McGuire?
Here.
Mr. Nash?
Here.
Mr. Volleson?
Here.
Ms. Powers? Here. Mr. Hagan?
Here.
And Mayor Cobb.
Aye, and we'll translate all of those heres as ayes.
Okay.
Okay? All right. The motion passes. A communication from the city attorney requesting that city council convene in a closed meeting to consult with legal counsel regarding a certain legal matter requiring the provision of legal advice by the city attorney concerning acquisition of city property in the southeast part of the city of Roanoke and disposition of city property in the county of Botetourt pursuant to section 2.2-3711A3 Code of Virginia. Motion and second, please.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, council members Volleson and Nash. And Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Sanchez Jones. Here. Aye. Sorry. Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Nash.
Aye.
Mr. Volleson.
Aye.
Ms. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
And Mayor Cobb.
Aye, and it's clear to me that we're also still testing out the new mic system, right? And the motion passes. A communication from the city attorney requesting that city council convene in a closed meeting to consult with legal counsel regarding a certain legal matter requiring the provision of legal advice by the city attorney concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities in the central part of the city of Roanoke. This is pursuant to section 2.2-3711A5 Code of Virginia. A motion and second, please.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, council members Hagan and Volleson. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Sanchez Jones. Here. Aye. Aye. Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Nash.
Aye.
Mr. Volleson.
Aye.
Ms. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
And Mayor Cobb.
Aye, and the motion passes. A communication from the city attorney requesting that city council convene in a closed meeting for the purpose of discussing possible disposal of publicly owned property in the central part of the city, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body pursuant to section 2.2-3711A3 Code of Virginia. Entertain a motion and second, please.
So moved. Second.
Members Hagan and Nash. And Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Sanchez Jones. Aye. Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Nash.
Aye.
Mr. Volleson.
Aye.
Ms. Powers. Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
And Mayor Cobb.
Aye, and the motion passes. A communication from the city attorney requesting that city council convene in a closed meeting to consult with legal counsel regarding a certain legal matter requiring the provision of legal advice by the city attorney concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion of an existing business or industry where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities in a regional park in which the city is a partner, pursuant to section 2.2-3711A5 Code of Virginia. A motion and second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, council members Powers and Volleson. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Sanchez Jones. Aye. Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Nash.
Aye.
Mr. Volleson.
Aye.
Ms. Powers. Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
And Mayor Cobb.
Aye, and the motion passes. A communication from the city attorney requesting that council convene in a closed meeting to consult with legal counsel on personnel matters concerning council-appointed officers pursuant to section 2.2-3711A1 Code of Virginia. A motion and second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, council members Powers and Nash. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Sanchez Jones. Aye. Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Nash.
Aye.
Mr. Volleson.
Aye.
Ms. Powers. Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
And Mayor Cobb.
Aye, and the motion passes. And a communication from the city attorney requesting that city council convene in a closed meeting to consult with legal counsel regarding a certain legal matter requiring the provision of legal advice by the city attorney concerning contract obligations involving a city-owned facility in the central part of the city of Roanoke, pursuant to section 2.2-3711A8 Code of Virginia. I'll entertain a motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Council Members Volleson and Powers. And Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Sanchez Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Nash.
Aye.
Mr. Volleson.
Aye.
Ms. Powers.
Aye.
Mr. Hagan.
Aye.
And Mayor Cobb.
Aye, and the motion passes. Are there any topics for discussion by any members of council? Okay. Mr. Nash?
I was driving down Williamson Road, test out the new traffic pattern, and I was curious, are there going to be any type of data collected? I know it was just paved last week, so it might still take some time to get those. I don't know what the device is called, but like the little wires that go across the road for like the speed and all that. But I just want to make sure that we're utilizing that so we can have some data on the speed and volumes and all that kind of information.
Mr. Roman?
Yes, great observation, and certainly the transportation team will definitely be taking counts, statistics, and we'll have all of that available. Not at the end, but they'll have that information available as we go through the test project as well. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a great question, insight, and as a reminder to the public, this is a 6-month pilot, so there is plenty of time. Everyone is invited to calm down and just learn to navigate and share your feedback. That's all very helpful. Any items listed on the 2:00 p.m. City Council agenda requiring any further clarification or discussion today? Okay. And I'm going to invite our city attorney, Mr. Spencer, to introduce 2 briefings to us. First is a code amendment regarding the authority to refund taxes paid due to erroneous assessment.
And Mr. Collins has worked on both of these.
Mr. Collins,
I'll invite
welcome. Thank you.
him up along with our Commissioner of Revenue. And then for the second item, he'll continue as well.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Mayor Cobb, Vice Mayor McGuire, members of council, and Ms. Turner. Periodically, taxpayers provide information to our Commissioner of the Revenue that is incorrect. As a result of that incorrect information, the Commissioner goes ahead, well, not knowing at the time it's incorrect, the Commissioner goes ahead and assesses the tax. Subsequently, it's made apparent to the Commissioner that the information that the taxpayer provided was incorrect, and that's deemed an erroneous assessment. Regardless of fault, the Code of Virginia authorizes and directs a refund to be provided in the cases of erroneous assessments. It has been the practice for the Commissioner and the Treasurer for us to come forward to council upon certification of the City Attorney, the Commissioner of the Revenue, and the Treasurer to authorize council to refund erroneous assessments. We are proposing that a new section be included in City Code, Section 206.1, that would authorize the Treasurer to refund erroneous assessments up to the amount of $10,000 upon certification by the Commissioner that the assessments were in fact erroneous. If there are, and with me today is the Commissioner, if there are any comments, do you have any, Mr. LaFountain? If there are no objections by council, we would place this on the October 20th agenda for council's consideration and adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Any questions? Ms. Powers.
You should know I have a question. Mr. Collins, you might remember some years ago, and I'm thinking maybe 10 years ago, we did have some questions where some other localities had to issue pretty high refunds due to people knowingly that they were reporting not the correct stuff to get a 10% interest back. And I might be, I know we've talked about that when I was still the treasurer, but I see our commissioner here. Am I correct that now y'all are looking at that, and if you see something that's really way out of range from the previous year, you're questioning that?
Welcome, Mr. LaFountain.
Thank you for your question, Councilwoman Powers. I mean, we are trying to be significantly more diligent in our reception of feedback to the microphone, and also ensuring that we have the correct information on file, so that if there's anything that looks out of place, that would raise a red flag to, you know, someone with keen eye for it, we would ask the questions of the taxpayer and the person filing.
Question.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't remember which locality it was in our state. David, you might remember, but it was a pretty hefty interest that they had to pay back. And I'm not talking a few $1,000s, I'm talking $1 million. And I would just like to make sure we're not ever put in that position.
I recall the case, but I don't remember the locality offhand. Under state code, the enabling legislation, of course, provides that anytime a locality assesses interest on late payment, any refunds also have to be refunded with the same amount of interest. So that's how we are at the 10%.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. LaFountain, for what you're doing. You've put a lot of great changes in the Commissioner's office, and I really appreciate those.
All right. I think we're ready to move on to the second one, Mr. Collins.
The second amendment relates to section 32.101.31 and 32.101.33 of the city code. And this is part of the statute that authorizes a partial tax exemption for the new hotel construction or partial or rehab of existing structures into a hotel. Under state code, structures that are partially renovated receive, or structures that are renovated, existing structures that are renovated receive a partial tax exemption. And a partial tax exemption on new structures and conservation, rehabilitation, and redevelopment districts are also allowed. Under state law, for there to be new construction and a partial tax exemption on the new construction, for example, on vacant land, the property has to be located in a conservation, rehab, or redevelopment district. The purpose of this proposed amendment is to clarify that the exemption for new construction is only afforded on those properties that are located in a conservation, rehab, and redevelopment districts consistent with state law. And if there are no objections, we propose to include this on the October 20th agenda for council's consideration and adoption.
Thank you for your good work on this. I appreciate it. Questions or comments from council? All right, we'll look forward to seeing it on the 20th.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Collins. We will now stand in recess until 2:00 p.m. for our closed meetings in the council's conference room.